mesmerized by how pretty she was. It's not that I never saw any pretty moms, but by 7th grade, most of the suburban moms in Teaneck had been overtaken by resignation. They had given up on pretty. They seemed to be settling for awake. But Zaria Chance looked different, fresher, carrying a hint of sensuality that I had assumed didn't even exist in these comfortable split levels and colonials. Her skin was a rich caramel, her face so smooth and flawless that you instantly knew she was a woman who took care of herself. Right away, as I watched her settle into the small chair, I braced myself. I didn't want to let her attractiveness distract me. It had happened before, and I was still embarrassed. I'd been doing a stint in 5th grade 3 years earlier, and the sexy, kittenish mother of a top-shelf knucklehead had talked me out of a suspension with her clearly calculated sexual codes. I'd kept looking down at the glimpse of chocolatey thigh gleaming at me, and I totally forgot the point of her visit. Never again. "So, how's my James doing?" she said, presenting a polite smile. She had dimples. Nice. Her James was getting on my nerves. That's really what I wanted to say, but that was much too frank. You had to ease into it with the mothers. I had gotten the sense over the 7 weeks that he had been in my class that James didn't have much interaction with adult males. It was something about his needy, attention-grabbing swagger. He was calling out for me to give him extra time. These were the kind of observations that Principal Bell counted on me to make. I hadn't thought about how I would get to it, but I suddenly got a flash of inspiration. Why not just come out with a simple question? "Does James have a father figure in the house?" I asked, smiling warmly, kindly, or so I thought. Right away, I knew the question had been wrong. The bulging of Zaria's eyeballs told me this, as did her snort of disgust. "Excuse me?" she said. "What kind of question is that? Aren't we here to talk about his academic performance?" Her eyebrows arched so drastically that I thought they were going to merge with her hairline. She was wearing a conservatively cut business suit, light brown, and I noticed that her nails were not decorated with any brightly colored polish, like she didn't have time for all that adornment. Right now, her hands were clenched tightly, angrily, and of course there was no wedding ring, which I had noted early on, no rings of any type. "Well, there's a good reason I asked you that," I said, trying not to let her reaction rattle me. "James has acted up quite a bit in my class. He spends too much time in homeroom out of his seat, and he often seems distracted. Sometimes he seems to be, kind of searching for attention. In my experience, males frequently do that with male teachers if there's a lack of a male figure in the house." She stared at me coldly, not responding right away. I tried to return her stare, but not very successfully. Her glare made me look away. At a spot above her head and to the left, I wanted my statement to sound strong, convincing, but I knew I had been a bit too hesitant, unsure of what I was saying. With parents, particularly mothers, uncertainty was lethal. They picked up on the scent of it like bloodhounds. "He has plenty of male figures, thank you," she said crossly. "He's never had any problems in any other classes with his, discipline." I waited for more. I got the never had this problem before defense all the time. Frankly, it was not at all convincing. Most of the time, the student in fact did have the same problem in other classes, but the other teachers just never bothered to complain. But I believed I was doing the parents a favor by giving them as much info as possible, even if it was negative. Well, that doesn't really concern me," I said. "I'm much more interested in what's going on with him right now." Right away, I knew it sounded too cold, a little heartless. I wanted to take it back, but it was out there like a finger in her eye. "That doesn't concern you?" she said. "Is that your way of saying you don't care what he was like in his previous classes? That would seem to be totally irrelevant if you ask me, 'cause what it would be telling me is that the problem with James might not be with James at all." She sat back and crossed her arms in a huff.